Right, don't you just love it when a Scurv comes together? So, Project Blue has been confirmed, right? It's been announced for 2026, which is fantastic, but it means we have to figure out who we want to play. Now, if you don't know what Project Blue is, it is essentially a powered down Blitz variant, right? So think of it as the next step up from Commoner, but not as egregious as Blitz may be, right? So it's only commons and rares. So I think everything I have in this deck is fine, but we don't know what the official ban list will be. We have a general idea of the cards that are, going to be banned. So for instance, take Nimby, right? It requires a go again proc to accomplish its effect and have an immediate, additive amount of value, right? A card that is very similar to Nimby is something called Belittle. Now, Belittle allows you to fetch another card called Minnowism, and you can either fetch a Minnowism that buffs, right, for +3, or you can fetch a Minnowism that gets you 3 resources. And Belittle itself has go again built in. So because of that, it is essentially a step up from Nimby, and therefore worthy of being banned, right? So until the official ban list is out, right, this is probably the deck I'm going with because I think you can have some really, really fun turns. Now, in all honesty, you could probably do everything I'm about to do a little bit easier in Bolton, but where's the fun of not playing Scurv, right? So what can we do? We have Nimblism in the arsenal, 1 in hand, Jack Be Quick, Nimby, and Money All Your Life, along with our Swift Strike braces and our quick clicks, right? So we do have a decent chunk of ways to get go again. We can use Scurv to convert a gold into a gold kiss rum, which then enables us to get a go again proc. Or if we play Nimblism, we can use quick clicks to give anything go again. Now again, the comparison is directly to Bolton since it's, banish a card from Soul to give an attack go again, right? But still, let's play out the turn. So we can go Nimblism for a +3, right? Since we've played it, it's in the graveyard. We can go Jack Be Quick, banish it to give Jack Be Quick a +1 and a go again, which is beautiful. So starting off with a 7, we can then close the chain, play Nimblism again. We can activate some of our equipment like quick clicks to then play Nimby with a go again proc, which then fetches us a Nimblism. So we can fetch a blue Nimblism for our Money All Your Life, right? That's a 4, so we're at 11. We can then use our Swift Strike braces to give our next attack a +2, right? And then we can go Money All Your Life off of the Nimblism that we fetched for a 6. So that was a 17, but then it threatens an extra 4 damage if Money All Your Life hits, because this has the really nice Thief proc of 2 damage, right? That is repeated, unless our opponent gives us gold, but, we'd probably steal their gold, make sure they don't have any, and therefore, again, threatening the extra 4 damage, which is definitely really nice. So altogether, that would be 21 damage, and, we had a fair mix of the colors in there. If we took all blues, if we somehow ended up miraculously on all the reds, it'd probably be 25-ish damage. So, yeah, the fact that you can do that over and over again, you've got 4 of the Jack Bs, you've got Nimbies and Nimblisms, you can take 6 of those, and you can take 6 of the money where your mouths are. And then you've got just the other fallback plan of Scurv being able to, again, generate go again or get a resource. So you can use Scurv to convert a gold, again, Gold Kiss Rum, which is basically a go again proc. And then when you use it, you also get the +1 resource, which is definitely nice because you could tie in some cards like Money Where Your Mouth Is, right? Which is a 1-cost pump wage gold, right? And if your opponent, beats you out, they block you out, you always have sticky fingers to fall back on to yoink the gold back to you. So yeah, I think there are some definitely lovely things you can do with Scurv. It can get a little bit awkward. So for instance, with the Money All Your Life, that would eat the Gold Kiss Rum proc. So you'd have to Gold Kiss, send something, probably a Nimby, right? It feels like almost every turn you want to open with Nimby or like Talishare, right? And then Money Where Your Life Is with the resource that you've netted, right? Something like that. Anyway, let's take a look at the deck, shall we? So as for the deck, the first big starting point is the cost, right? It is a $10 deck, which is absolutely fantastic, right? So yeah, I do feel like Project Blue is going to be the greatest, learning experience because power level will be toned down a bit. You'll be able to get those good back and forth, and it'll be a nice cheap entry point into the game. But as for the cards, right? Again, we don't know the final ban list for Project Blue, so some of these might end up on there, but generally speaking, I don't think anything here is overstandard. They're usually, again, gated by their effects. So again, Nimby needs go again. The quick clicks in themselves, you have to have played a Nimblism to use its go again proc, right? So you have to find X card, unlike, say, Snapdragon Scalers, which is just readily usable on board. So yeah, maybe Snatch, just because a card/arsenaling card has I think a little bit higher of a value attached to it than just stat values. But the deck. So equipment is probably the iffy point, right? Obviously for Certain, Talishare, Sticky Fingers, Quick Clicks, and the Swift Strike Braces. But the head and chest are sort of up in the air, right? I don't necessarily know if you need Deep Blue. It is nice to obviously be able to cycle a red, get the 3 resources, and go into one of those bigger cards, but it's not, I would say, necessary, right? We could also, take one of the gain of 1 resource, Spring Blossom, or the Pirate one. The Pirate one's better because it has block, right? And use that in conjunction with the Gold Kiss Realm, get 2 resources to go into something, Teleshare, right? Which will then have to go again. I think that's a nice enough step as well, right? So maybe that's the go for the chest, or we just go full tanky, right? With the 2 Blade Beckoner pieces. The Blue Sea Tricorn as well, if we just want to cycle a blue, look for something a bit more aggressive, or damage prevention. Of course, Null Rune for the Arcane matchups. Not so fast depending on the matchup, although I think we'll have a pretty decent time of denying our opponent's gold, right? If they deal with Sticky, then that also puts us ahead in terms of life. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. As for the actual deck, right, all 4 Jackby Quicks. I'm only taking Nimby red and yellow. I'm tempted to take the blue because, well, it's nice to pitch and, it's 1 more fetch. But I think I like it, less than the Nimbleisms, because once you can't fetch a Nimbleism with Nimby, obviously Nimby drops off immensely, right? Other than that, 6 Nimbleisms, because either the blue is pitchable or a +1 if need be, and then just some nice good buffs. I do like Money Where Your Mouth Is, again, just because Wage is a bit more clean in Scurv, since you can get it back. Maybe I don't need all 4 copies, but, I think it's a decent enough buff, right? And the gold definitely goes a long way in Scurv. Scar for a Scar will probably, end up less alive. Probably aim for like a 1 cost, that again, you're using that go again proc. But I think either feeding into cards like Snatch, I have Thieving Varmints just because it's a 0/4 with 3 block, right? Which is really nice. So the text is obviously empty since we don't have Treasure Island, but I do think the fact that it is a 0/4 3 block puts it a little bit ahead, right? So yeah, Golden Tipple, ways to generate gold. That's probably the weakest point, is the gold generation, because obviously you can't start with Crown, you don't have Gold Bait Hook to use it over and over again. So Golden Tipple in yellow. HMS Kraken, another way to destroy gold if our opponent gets it off of us, right? Otherwise just a nice big overpower. Generally speaking, we might not get the High Tide, but we could go yellow and a blue into it, which then would leave us 1 resource. So it could be, Money Where Your Mouth, and that would still be a decent 9 attack, right? Not with the overpower. It'd be great if we could land the overpower, 2 blues and a Money Where Your Mouth, but something like that, right? Then Money or Your Life, again, in all 6 copies, just because, it has that real good proc as Thief. Any cards I've missed? Portside Exchange, Gold Generation, Scrub the Deck, and C4 Salvage, same sort of thing, but they're also just blue 3 blocks, right? So I think that's a little bit fair. If you don't need to block with it, then you have the ability to use it, mainly in the case of C4 Salvage, probably not Scrub the Deck. So if there was anything, definitely could be tuned up a little. Scrub the Deck, Scar for a Scar, maybe there's a better Thieving Varmints out there, right? A better, 3 block, that value attack. But yeah, I think this is definitely a nice enough starting point. Probably the deck I will take to Project Blue when it finally rolls out, unless where I would assume it'd probably be, maybe start to mid of 2026, right? So we've got the Super Slam heroes, and then we'll probably have the Monarch heroes. Maybe something there will fetch my interest, right? I can't take Melody because Melody's, gutted. There's no final act, unfortunately, in Project Blue. But yeah, let me know what you think, right? I'll put the deck link in the description. So if you refine it, tweak it, I'd love to see, because yeah, I've enjoyed this very much, right? Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Yeah.